wanna get with the psychos who get into me. If the pussy ain't right, then it ain't a good night. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but pussy ain't my problem. It's a trip, I'm falling down, I'm on my knees, I'm on the ground. And all I can think of is being your lover and being discovered is something amazing. And all I can think of is being a wanker, 'cause you are my banker and your love ain't lost on me. If the pussy ain't right, then it ain't a good night. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but pussy ain't my problem. It's a
We're back on the Drive-In Asylum double feature, and we hope you will join us next weekend when our guest host will be AC Nicholas, and our two films are going to be The Plants Are Watching, aka The Curlian Witness, and Sam, what's the second film going to be?
Mike Justice Guest, Venus and Furs by Jess Franco. Super excited. That one goes on after midnight. Putting the kids to bed. It's
We're gonna let it all hang down.
Yeah, we're gonna, as if we didn't already tonight. In this, I don't know what Mosaic's Endgame was. I think here's my theory. This is like my Marvel no prize theory: is that the brain operations only left the part of his brain that was obsessed with sex and violence, and that's all he had left, and he had to use it, and he did.
Yeah, it was that gonad transplant that Dr. Frankenstein gave him.
He was given the balls of the serial killer.
It could happen. I'm just saying. I saw Percy. I know how easily penises can be transplanted. Just ask Elke Summer.
So this movie's filled with, I didn't really get into it in the first segment. This movie's filled with people that did other things and some surprising things. You got so here's a few people here. Obviously, John Richardson, who was our intrepid, I guess he's a reporter, brother of a heart transplant patient that doesn't make it, who suddenly gets deputized, perhaps better known for being in Black Sunday, which he is in. He's also in She, 1 Million Years BC, The Vengeance of She, Torso. He plays Franz in Torso. He's in Eyeball. Reflections in Black, kind of sort of genre. 9 guest lists.
Eyeball.
Yeah, he's in War of the Planets, Battle of the Stars, Murder Syndrome in 1981, late to the game genre, and he's the architect that makes The Church in 1989's The Church. So he's in a ton of stuff.
That alone is enough to get your attention, Sam Panico.
100%. Dr. Frankenstein is obviously Gordon Mitchell, who has been in a ton of stuff. But the really interesting guy I found is Renato Romano, who is the police detective who never gets to smoke. He actually established the New York offices of Euro International Films in '75 and joined forces with Mondadori to create Italy's first private TV network. 1978. Beyond just being an actor, he was also one of the producers of The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. And he was in 51 movies, including The French Sex Murders, 7 Bloodstained Orchids. He plays the priest. He's in Blind Man, which has Ringo Starr, and probably the only, definitely the only spaghetti western that a Beatle made. He's also in The Fifth Chord, The Iguana with the Tongue of Fire, the first Dorian Gray that came out in 1970. He's the professor in The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. In a ton of stuff. Zero Pappas, who we loved here as Mosaic. He plays another beastly character. He's Lupo, the literal beast in heat of another movie which might outdo this for sheer lunacy and female-centric violence. But he's also in that. And he's Cregan in Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks and the vampire monster in The Devil's Wedding Night. Also shows up in The French Sex Murders. He plays Lobo in the movie Lobo the Bastard. And he's also in God Is My Colt 45. So he did a few cowboy movies. In addition to being an actor, he was a property manager and location manager, which is kind of cool. Some of the really interesting things, hopefully you guys will find out. Delia de Lazaro, who played the, I guess, love interest, even though nothing was consummated here. In this, I was like, God, I know her from somewhere. She's the headmistress from Phenomena, that makes sense. But here's even stranger. She's in another Frankenstein movie. She's in Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, and she plays the female creature. So she went right. That's literally the next movie she did after Frankenstein.
One he fucks in the gallbladder.
Yeah, she went literally from that movie to this movie, which, I mean, luckily she didn't get typecast as being in this. I think this, and she's also the nurse in Last Stop on the Night Train. She's in one of the many Canterbury movies that kind of came out after that, and she's a dancer in Your Vice is a Locked Door, a stripper in that. So she did quite a lot. Renate Cache, who is the redhead streetwalker who gets killed in this. She's also in Lady Frankenstein, which, okay, maybe everybody's getting that. And the reason I brought this up is she's also in Emmanuel in America. And the role that she plays in that movie is literally masturbating redhead. That's what her name in the credits is. And you know what? My parents aren't proud of a lot of stuff I did, but if I played masturbating redhead, they'd be super happy. Speaking of dancers, Anna Odessa, who played the last stripper who was killed in this movie, she was also in Story of a Cloistered Nun and Decameron No. 4, which is one of the many Decameron movies that got made around that time. That was a big micro genre. Finally, Emilio Variano, who is the camera person for this movie and cinematographer. Bill, what other movie do you think he did? One of your favorite movies?
Oh, I know this, and the minute you say it, it's gonna drive me crazy. What is it?
He also did Lisa and the Devil,
Right.
and he did a ton of Bava stuff. Bay of Blood, Baron Blood, Rabid Dogs. Shot a lot of stuff for Bava, which is pretty rad.
Sorry,
And
I was thinking of House of Exorcism. Not
he did.
Lisa
Well,
and the
you
Devil.
could cover both of them, I guess. And then finally, I saw that it got brought up in the chat, and the music is by Danielle Petrucci, I believe is the way you say it. And man, a lot of work. Warrior of the Lost World, The Wild Beasts, Estigma, the Spanish movie, which Brad, right? Plot of Fear, uh, Sex of the Witch, Frankenstein 80, as we know, Sacrifice, Death Played the Flute,
Sacrifice.
yeah, and a lot of stuff. And To Be 20 did one of the songs for that, which was a pretty big movie when it came out. And one of his songs is actually in, if you play the game Red Dead Revolver, a lot of the Italian music from their westerns end up being in that game. So his music's in there as well. So yeah, David's the one that brought it up. So yeah, pretty wild. The music's really great in this, actually. As Bill mentioned, you can hear some of it in the timer music, but I really enjoy, especially the music that's playing during that stripping scene is really good. It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of chill. It's like very like it just feels really good.
I have that as a file on my computer. I listen to it all the time. I have a playlist of stuff just like that. It's great
Yeah.
because I know exactly when they're going to start cheering. When she
Yeah.
takes off her panties, they start cheering for her. It's like, wow,
I was
you
just-
didn't appreciate anything she did before that. Like that was the limit.
It's funny. So I said to Bill when she was dancing, I said, I am not attracted to this woman at all. And he was like, yeah, of course you are. So,
Don't believe him.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is definitely a scummy. If you like this, The Beast and Heat, very similar movie about. As I said before, I'm not going to say the N word, the NAZI word. It's a movie about a German army that invents a special creature made for assaulting women. Why? Who needs it? Why does everything else in the movie seem like it's in modern times and not during World War II? But man, it's something like this movie.
So what makes this movie scummy? Because we were talking about this before we went into it.
Yeah,
Darren says it's scummy. I feel that way. Why do you think it's scummy?
I think because it moves past the giallo, which even while scummy in parts, some of them they have like a veneer of class in the way that they're shot. This movie is really about seeing a stitched together man either be operated on or kill women, and there's really no in between, right? Like that's really what it is. It's just like he's either trying to have sex with women or kill them. Also, Bill brought it up when that one girl's trying to stop him from having sex with her. She just keeps doing this. Doesn't really do much. Supposedly the Italian cut has full frontal for him too, which is pretty far. I'm
going to be really disappointed now that you said that if I watch that and it's not in there because
yeah,
I would live for Mosaic full frontal. And there's a brief moment when I got the German Blu-ray. Oh, where is it? Here it is. This gorgeous book packaging for the Blu-ray set of Frankenstein 80. I had to pay a lot of money for it. It was at the time, well, like, $40-$50. And it's totally worth it.
yeah.
Because it's a gorgeous presentation of this film. But, it has that crystal clear transfer. And I went frame by frame when he strips before he has sex with the prostitute. And there's a brief moment where he would be full frontal and you might see his dick and he has one of those things on that men wore to cover the penis.
The intimacy patch, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild that it takes a long time for her to realize that she's sleeping with a dead person. Like,
what is wrong with her?
It's remarked several times that even in rooms he's been in days ago, they smell like formaldehyde. So being around him has to be like really, really stinky.
Yeah.
And then also like she sees his head. Maybe she's used to this. Like maybe these are the guys that come to her. He has a giant scar the whole way around his face. His eyes are.
That's not normal.
No, like he takes his hat off and she's like, "Come on and get comfortable, baby." It's like this guy's got scabs all over his face. And then when he takes his outfit off, he's still coming close to her, and she's like, "No problem." And then does she need glasses? Is she not wearing her glasses? And like when she's like 2 or 3 feet away from him, she's like, "Oh, this has become a problem. Now this has become a problem."
Suddenly, yeah. I think she actually saw his gigantic Frankenstein member.
That's what this movie is missing. Like the scene where she sees it, and it's kind of like the Nick the Dick scene in Bachelor Party, where kind of like just drops, and we see like a shadow of it between his legs, and she just starts screaming, and he inches closer to her, and I'm like, oh yeah, you've done it.
It's
So,
what the Incubus wanted to show, but never
yeah,
really did.
Handy Incubus.
For me, that's what makes this movie scummy is the rapey stuff in it, and the times when after he throttles these women and he fondles their body in a sexual way.
I
Which,
also that's yeah, and the other thing I don't understand, Bill, sorry to cut you off, is when he's in the butcher shop, he comes in, the other customer doesn't notice that a man that smells like formaldehyde covered in scars has come in. Okay, right?
that scene is so creepy.
That, and she goes, "What do you want?" And he goes, "Ugh," and she goes, "Oh, the liver." What?
Yeah.
He goes, like, no. I get bad service at Giant Eagle every time I go to the meat counter. I couldn't just go, and they go, "Oh, we know exactly what you want." I'm going to try it tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Beck will probably yell.
She was nice to him.
Super nice. He
Yeah.
should have just been like, there should have been her boss should have came in and been like, "You're not doing this right." And then she goes home crying, and then like she gets killed. The other person gets killed, but that's fine. But
You wanted to somehow save her.
Yeah. Also, the love interest, who is the daughter of Frankenstein, who screwed up in an operation, and not like they could have expanded that a bit. Does he feel bad that he caused someone's death, and that's why he's trying to bring things to life, or does he hate everyone and that's why he's doing it? Also, like, for being a genius, I know, like, why go through the plot points, but whatever. For being a genius, he's a really bad genius. One, his secret lair, super easy to find. Two, cassette tapes, like, take them home. Don't leave incriminating evidence in your office. Maybe put your secret lair not in your office. You know what I mean? Like, that seems to work, right? And then, like,
I would want it to be right there where I could watch it every minute. I wouldn't leave that monster alone for a second.
And if you're going to kill your boss or a coworker or whatever the other doctor was, right? Why would you keep his head in the fridge of your work and the other whole body of the other guy? Like, get rid of him. Get rid of it. It just seems like he made a lot of mistakes, and it seems like
you've done this.
His niece kind of. Here's where this movie's not fully scummy Italian, is like that he wasn't like kind of creepy and coming on to his niece. It didn't really achieve the full Italian nature of it that you usually get, but it got. I mean, there's more than enough other stuff in here to get upsetting.
There was sort of they never really even showed them interact.
Yeah. Also, she is a perfect person because anytime anyone's the least upset, she's like, "Let me make you a drink," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's how it works." Speaking of, Bill and I are gonna keep our organs perfectly composed because we have found some. We have our own Schwartz serum that we found. I sent Bill through the magic of the internet. I sent him some Schwartz serum. The Schwartz. I also like that he hand wrote a Schwartz serum. Also, he spent his entire life coming up with the Schwartz serum, and all he could do was one picture of it. I mean, that's it. That's all he'll ever make. And he wants to change the world. How many transplants can you do?
He really needed a shark in there with him.
Oh.
Like if he had been on Shark Tank and gotten somebody to invest in his organ transplant juice, then he would have been able to meet the demand and there would have been no problem.
Here's my Schwartz serum right here. Hopefully my organs all stay in my body and my brain doesn't come out my eyes.
Right. So cheers.
Ooh. Ooh. Strong. So
did you like my shot glass?
I do love it. It's wonderful. Mike asked an important question: Shockma versus Mosaico, who would win?
I'm so glad you asked that because I meant to make that a subject in this very segment.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Sam?
Who would you? Oh man, I'm gonna have to go with Mosaico just for size and like just like, I don't think he would fuck around. Do you know what I mean? Like he has other stuff he wants to do. Do you know what I mean? And I just have a feeling that he would win. I want him to win. I like, but not that I dislike Shaq. But that's my pick.
Well,
His
yeah.
science feels a little more pushed towards Mania versus Shackman.
If there were an actual scene like that in either one of these films, I would say that Mosaic would probably win, even if it didn't really make sense that he would win against a baboon. But the movie just would have worked out that way because nothing could match Mosaic.
Also, Shaqma may be confused because he doesn't smell anything other than the formaldehyde. He doesn't smell like a living creature. So he may just be confused. And in that moment of confusion, we all know Mosaic's finishing move is just a choke. Not a choke slam, nothing where it's just literally two hands to the throat. Very simple. It's it's perhaps not completely illegal. There's no referee in this match. There's no 5 count. I think just
realistically, Shakma would have ripped all his stitches out and he would have just fallen apart.
Yeah, probably. He would probably ripped off his new balls.
Oh, he was getting so attached to them too.
He was. Let me just set up the scene. He and Shaqma and Mosaic are both interested in killing and assaulting, order to be determined, the same woman. And they have to fight before they get her. Who has the redder? I would say that Shaqma has the redder butt. His butt is magnificent.
There's only one butt I wanted to look at, and it wasn't Shaqma's.
No.
The Mosaic's was pretty nice.
Yeah. Now, what if Mosaic defeats Shaqma and the doctor puts his butt on Mosaic's butt? And that's what he gets when he wins. Do you know what I mean? He gets the red ass, or he gets like his arm or something. It really just becomes like some kind of connected organism.
That would be a crime against nature.
I think that's everything. Hey, do you want to do this giveaway? Speaking of crimes against nature.
I was wondering when you were going to bring up this giveaway.
So who would like to win Texas Chainsaw Mascara? Let me know if you'd like to win. Just put your name in on here and just say you have, let's say 2 minutes to say, I'd like to win this movie. It's on Blu-ray. It's a brand new release. This is from our friends at MVD, who distribute a lot of Blu-rays. But and this is Bill Zabub's movie. It is got a butt right on the back cover. And it has just come out. Brand new release. It could be yours. Steve Wilson says, I would like to win this movie. Right now, your odds of winning are 1-1. I'm putting your name on a spinning wheel right now. Tom Space gives a thumbs up. Matt, kill that Matt. All right. Getting some winners in here. We got 3 people. Your chances of winning right now, these guys are 1-3. You could be 1-4. Kristen Ann said, I'd like to win that movie too. Great. Now you have a 25% chance of winning. Oh, man. The odds. Let's do that.
Yeah, the odds are going down.
The odds are going down, but they're still not bad. Vince Cornelius and Tim say. Like, you play the lottery and you're like, yeah, this is way better.
This is a first. This is one that Vince actually wants to be entered in the drawing for. This has never happened before.
All right. Man, we got a bunch of people in here. We got 7 people. This is pretty exciting. 7 people. Is there a Vegas line in this? Yes, there is. It's a 1 in 7 chance of winning. That's pretty good odds. You know?
Oh, you never even commented on my Mosaic t-shirt.
I didn't see it. I couldn't tell that's what it was. Amazing.
Yeah. Frankenstein 80.
I painted you a Mosaic painting for Christmas one year.
You did.
Yes. With him.
It was in Drive-In Asylum.
Yes, holding a giant bone. All right, we got 7 people. I'm going to give it 1 more minute, and then I will spin the wheel of destiny, and we will find the one person that gets this Blu-ray. Pretty exciting. Mosaic touched Blu-ray. Wow, yeah.
I love the part too where in the prostitute's house after he kills her, the doctor shows up just a moment too soon to save her,
Yeah.
and he just puts Mosaic's coat over him naked.
Yeah, and his hat's all bunched up on him.
His hat's the first thing he puts on him.
Yeah.
It's very awkward. For a moment, Mosaic was naked with a hat on.
And just a jacket. All right, Bill, I'm going to spin the wheel. Here we go. It's spinning.
Oh, it's happening.
Yep. The wheel is finished spinning. The winner is Steve Wilson. Congratulations, Steve. You're the first to enter, the first to win. Send me a message on Facebook, or you can email me at bnsbutmovies@gmail.com. Let me know your address. And David didn't get in. I'm sorry, David. There'll be more movies coming up next week. But yeah, you will just send me your info. I'll send it out. Hopefully, you don't live in Canada, or outside of the continental U.S. So let's see how it goes. Anyway, Bill, new movies this week. Let's talk these. Here's what came in.
Okay.
From Arrow, Black Sunday, and not the Baba movie, the movie with the blimp. Pretty exciting.
Oh, the blimp movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that freaked me out so bad when I was a kid.
It upset me so bad. Knockabout, which is a kung fu movie. And we have Filler Up with Super, which is a Radiance Films, which is a somewhat new label. And The House That Screamed on Blu-ray. As Bill said to me the other day, are we going to keep buying these movies over and over again? And I said, yeah, until we can beam them directly into our brains. We're going to keep doing it, over and over again. We got a stop-motion animation movie called Junkhead, which I have not checked out yet. Looks kind of interesting. That's the Junkhead there. This is from Mill Creek. Rod Serling written, Requiem for a Heavyweight on Blu-ray, which I'm pretty excited about. Got Jackie Gleason, Anthony Quinn, Mickey Rooney, and finally, perhaps most exciting, speaking of rebuying the same movie again and again, our friends at Synapse do that, but we keep buying it, right? So, speaking of monkey movies, Phenomena on UHD. Look at that. And
Phenomena. Phenomena.
I love you all, as she says. But that art, man, come on. So I'm really excited to have this on 4K and pretty cool. And I haven't watched it yet, but it'll be up on the site soon. It's even got the Jennifer music video in a Japanese press book gallery. Come on. Yeah.
Oh, was it a program?
Yeah, program gallery. It's a digital file to read it on the.
That's amazing. I have a couple Japanese programs. I have one for Alien, and I have one for Tentacles as well.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. Like, to go to the movies, you could buy a program.
Japanese theaters all do that. Like, they do toys and like all sorts of other stuff. I had a program for when Empire Strikes Back came out. They did programs in the theater, and I had one for years. I bought one in theater. So Mill Creek's putting out a couple more multi-packs, but they're down just to 8 movies and 4 movies, but of some horror stuff coming up, which is kind of cool. But yeah, they're not doing these huge multi-packs anymore like they used to, but they're putting out some cool stuff. But yeah, that's what came in this week. Super excited about this stuff. And Bill, there is another doc coming out that I got a digital review of. It'll be coming up soon, called Back to the Drive-In, which is about how drive-ins came back during COVID, and they traveled to several drive-ins to see what it's like for people that have come to the drive-in for the first time. So kind of excited to watch that.
Right on.
And on Shudder this month, there's a movie called Sorry About the Demon. The girl who directed it directed Pathogen, which is a shot-on-video movie in Austin when she was 12 years old. She's like 25 now, still directing movies. And it's a pretty fun possession movie, but it's a comedy, but it's actually pretty good. It's got some funny stuff in it. And I kind of dug it. It's got a House of the Devil kind of scene in it, which is fun, where he has the guy's really poor and all he has is a Walkman, and he's dancing around the house while the demons are chasing him. So it's kind of like that scene in House of the Devil, but played for fun. So pretty cool. Oh man. Yeah, I'm super excited about that movie coming out from Arrow. So also this week, Robot Monster got announced coming out in 3D on Blu-ray, which is pretty awesome. I think. Kill that Matt said, talk about skin and rink. Oh boy. No.
There's no update right now, Scott Porter, for the April drive-in movie marathon, but I happen to have gotten a glimpse at the program in advance, and I have to say that you guys are going to love it. It's very exciting. There's some unexpected choices on there, and it's themed, and it's a theme that everybody's probably going to love. That's all I'll say.
Also, if you attend, I am going to have a box full of movies of stuff that that I'm getting rid of, and generally I just give them away. So if you would like something, Anchor Bay Phenomenal will be in there, which is I spent $30 on it.
Do you want to talk about Skinamarink?
Not really, no. Yeah, I mean, I will. I hated it.
I haven't seen it, so I really don't know anything about it, to be honest. I was thinking about going to see it.
I hated it maybe more than I hated Let's All Go to the World's Fair, which I despised.
Wow.
And yeah, I hated it. So, but you know what? If you like it, that's cool. But it goes. If it was 20 minutes and a good exercise, it would have been good. I just didn't. And I thought maybe I'm in the wrong mood for it. I watched it 3 different times. Every time, I did not like it. I just don't like it. But you know what? It's fine. Not everything's for everybody. And if you liked it, all the power to you. I am just one man watching Just Franklin.
So wait a minute, though. You didn't see it in a theater. You saw it.
No, I didn't. I saw it on TV. I saw it on Shudder. Sent me a link to watch it. Yeah, my theory of it is people are like, well, it's really scary. I'm like, well, it's not cheap like other movies. It is. It's cheaper than any other one because it's an entire movie of jump scares, and it tries to act. People have tried to sell it above that. If I'm in a theater and you shut all the lights out for 30 minutes and just have one scene on the screen and very quiet things, and it suddenly gets loud, I'm like, okay, yeah, of course people are going to get scared. That's a function of it. If you told me reading what the movie was about, I didn't know what it was about until I read what it was about. And I watched it 3 times, and it's like, it felt, I don't know. Sometimes watching people jack off's fun if it's the right person, and this wasn't that right person. Maybe for me, that's my.
You're making this sound better and better.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I don't know. I get what they were going for. I don't like that they used Rob Zombie used the same exact cartoon in his Halloween too. The public domain cartoons. And it's there. It's one of those movies. Like I always wonder, people write on Twitter a lot about how these movies destroyed them, and they think about them all the time. And I can't believe this movie. And I'm like, did we watch the same movie? But then I also think I say the same shit about Venus and Furs, and I'm sure people are gonna hate it next week. And that movie was dumb. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So we all have different tastes, right? And I also realized that I'm not the kind of person that likes it's not found footagey, but it's just kind of I don't really know what it is. It's just kind of there. I don't know. I think I probably hated Let's All Go to the World's Fair more, especially because its director posted this big thing that Skinamarink is about coming out as trans, and I'm like, is it really? I don't know. I mean, you can put anything you want onto anything.
It seems more like an art experiment.
Yeah, and it is, and it's very. But you know what? I appreciate that someone was going for it with it, and it's a $15,000 movie that is going to make way more than that, and it's cool that independent horror is getting seen by more people, and I think that's cool.
What about Knock at the Cabin Door?
Haven't seen it yet. I have a screener of it, and I haven't watched it yet. And I'm kind of Sean Collier hated it, but he hates everything M. Night Shyamalan does. And I always make fun of him for it. I'm like, maybe
I liked The Visit. I don't know if you saw The Visit.
I haven't seen The Visit. I didn't like because it was kind of I got where he's going, but I think the thing is the scene that he did in the Mexico City scene in that Alien one he did, the one with the all the water all over the house. What's that one called?
Signs.
Signs. The scene with Mexico City is like one of the scariest things I've seen in the movie with that alien.
Yeah,
Kinda
I like Signs a hell of a lot.
hmm And I think he's trying with this stuff. I like Dave Bautista a lot, not just because he's a wrestler, but I think he's a really solid actor. And I think so. I'm excited for it. I'll watch it, and give it a chance. The other thing I've really been liking is Poker Face, the series that's on now on Peacock. It's really good. And Lucky McKee directed an episode. Who did Old Man? If you guys haven't seen Old Man, that he did, it's really good. It's a 2-person story in a cabin in the middle of nowhere that maybe people it's a time loop kind of movie, and it's really good. Came out last year and kind of didn't really get seen, but I really dig it. He also did Sushi Girl, which is really good. I really like him a lot. And but Poker Face is really good show. It's kind of like if you like Columbo, but it's like a modernized Columbo with a little bit of supernatural-y thing, because she's like a lie detector where for some reason they've never explained it and they're never going to, which that's why I love it. But she can tell when someone's lying or not, and she is also compelled to scream out loud when she can tell when someone's lying. So it gets her in trouble a lot. So it's kind of like it's very Columbo too. 'Cause you see the murder, you don't have to figure out who the murderer is. They show it to you, but the whole point of it is finding out who and why the murder is important. And it's about 5 episodes in. It's really good for an American TV, a TV series that came out.
I
this
saw
year.
an ad for it on TV.
Yeah,
It's so hard
I
for
love
me to commit
Natasha
to a
Lyonne
new
too.
TV show.
It's you know what, I will say it's 100% worth it, and I love Natasha Lyonne. I think I'm so happy that she's fixed her life, and she's for a couple of years, and she's in Orange Is the New Black too. But she's perfectly cast, like Chris said, and she's just so good on it. And it's just like the first, and what's his name? Benjamin Bratt's in it, who's another guy who hasn't done a lot of stuff for a while. It's very much like The Fugitive too, Bill, where she gets caught and I don't want to give away the first episode, but someone dies and she kind of gets blamed for it. So she's getting chased while she keeps finding herself falling into these murder kind of follows her as it does Murder She Wrote or Heart to Heart.
Jessica Fletcher.
Yeah. And everywhere she
Heart.
goes, she gets pulled into these situations and just wants to make money and get out of town and stay 5 steps ahead of these people that are following her. And man, it's good. So far, it's 5 episodes in, and I think it has 5 left. And usually I don't get super into a new series, and I really dig it. It's been fun. And it's produced like a movie. Actually, I was talking to someone today, and they think that the new episode has a lot of opera influence because the 3 songs in this episode are all from opera, and there's a couple shots that look like opera. So who knows? I see the giallo and everything, right? But I really
they
dig
have
it.
these maraschino cherries soaked in whiskey.
Oh man.
Mm-mm.
There's also the guy who did the Descent and Dog Soldiers. Neil Marshall has a new movie on Shudder called The Lair, and it's very 90s direct-to-video. A pilot gets shot down in Afghanistan and finds herself in a cave filled with government experiment aliens.
It looked kind of Jamie Lee Curtis virus to me.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's better than that, and it's not great, but it's fun. It feels like something you'd rent for 5 nights for $5 kind of movie, and be like, yeah, I kind of like that. It got good gore. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's on Shudder too now, and I think what else is coming up on there? They put up the Homebodies, which I've never seen, and that's up there. And
oh my god,
I've never seen it. I'm super excited.
I keep forgetting to go watch that before they take it off because
that
was one of those movies I saw on WOR or something in the 80s. Really late night TV. And I remember it was always on HBO. But because it was about old people, I just never watched it. I was like, oh, it's like an old person's movie. But I finally saw it on WOR and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I have that marked to watch. I'm excited that it's on there because I've somehow never seen it, so I'm really jazzed about it.
I think you'll really like it.
Also, I showed a couple weeks ago 4K UHDs of the two Franco movies, and I watched Eugenie the other day, and I'm such a mark. I started like tearing up at the end of it when the music hit, and I was like, man, this movie's so fucking good. Um, Also, you'll be happy to know that if people saw it and they're like, man, that movie's really blurry in parts, and like, did Franco know how to focus? The UHD doesn't fix any of it. It's still blurry as fuck, and I'm like, I'm glad that technology has advanced to the point that these movies stay the same. Like my every copy of Conquest I get, they're like, there's not that much fog in this one, and there's even more fog. So exciting. So, man, I'm glad we
Here's
watched.
something I didn't actually run on the page this week, and I know you'd love to see it.
Oh, that's the movie. One of the two movies that ruined their MGM deal. Between that and Sahara, those were the two that were there. Like, we're not going to carry any their movies. And then Breaking 2 made tons of money, and Cannon got all the money for it. So, who wins, right? Bolero was a movie. I don't know if anyone else is like this. That it was a big deal. It was one of those movies that people talked about in grade school, like sixth grade, where it was like Bolero was crazy. Like there's, and it was like Deep Throat from the way they talked. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you saw it, and you're like, this is the most boring movie I've ever seen. There's one scene where her just yelling pleasure. Yeah, it's not good.
I felt that way about 10.
Yeah.
Everybody talked that way about 10, like about how like totally pornographic it was. And
Yeah, you get to see
really
Samuel
when
J. Jones's balls in it. Yeah.
I watched it and I thought it was really funny, but it wasn't pornographic.
Yeah, but man, Bolero was such a big deal, and then when it came on HBO, it was going to be like, oh man, it's like going to be, it was a big deal, and then the video store had like 3 copies, and they were like 18 only, and it's just like then you see it, and you're like, yeah, I don't know. It's just
Chris said 10 is overrated. I don't think so. I love 10. It's just not the kind of movie you think it is. Like when you're a, 9-year-old kid and people are talking about it at school. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Bo Derek, man, you should see her naked in it. But it's just, I think it's really funny.
To be fair, Tarzan the Ape Man is a movie that you would say, oh yeah, an ape sucks her tit, and you're like, there's no way that happens, and it totally happens. So I mean, whatever. Oh my god, Bill, amazing.
Speaking of,
oh my god,
look, the title is slightly different.
yeah, is Electric Boogaloo. Wow,
this is from London, of course.
You have to send this to Austin, by the way, when you think of it.
Well, it's going on the page tomorrow.
Okay, good. I'll send it to him. That is beautiful. Like everything about this. I love this movie so much. Like it's like one of those joy movies, and also you can get it at most Dollar Generals for $1.25 now. Breaking 2, the MGM reissues of them, and they look pretty nice for DVD. Man, I fucking adore this movie. Not just because it's a Cannon movie. It's just so good. It's like just a joyous film. I would love to see it in a theater. You made my night. Wow. Fucking Michael Winner.
That makes me actually want to see this movie.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Well, the American ad campaign is really kind of dumb, and it makes it look like Halloween.
Yeah, this one looks great. I love that font for Scream for Help. It's really, really nice.
Oh, there are so many screams.
Oh, Scream for Help. Man, that's a really great ad. It's kind of like, oh, what is happening? How would you put those two together? Okay.
Don't question it, Sam Panico.
No.
Just bask in it.
It's funny. I forgot that when I talked to John Harrison that he directed more Doom than any other human being with those 2 miniseries, and he's a producer on the new one. And it's wild that, he said to me, he's like, I like Lynch's Dune. He's like, but he needed more than 2 hours. Also, he's not the right director to make it. Wow. I can't even imagine the collision of those two movies. Man, I
Mike's
guess
going to commit some kind of ritual suicide if we don't watch Scream for Help. So,
I mean, when you host again, I think you're gonna have to
yeah.
probably pick that one, or you're gonna
I
have
mean,
to
we're going to ask you again. So make
yeah,
sure we do that one.
immolate yourself. Wow.
Any host out there, it's never the last time you're on the show.
Yeah, generally, if you do well, you're welcome back.
Once we know that you're actually going to do it and you're not going to tell us at the last minute, oh no, my grandma died.
I see a lot of Sharon Stone versus Bo Dare comments. I love Sharon Stone. Mike Justice knows how much I love her, but she never got her own trading cards. Here's Bo trading cards, and I have a bunch. Man, you know what? This is definitely a movie that I want the show this on the show. Is have you seen this, Bill?
No, of course not.
Okay, this movie totally is going to be a movie you're going to love because it's like if we combine The Exorcist, a little bit of Poltergeist, a ninja movie, and Flashdance, and start with a 10-minute ninja fight on a golf course where he kills about 50 cops and knocks a helicopter out of the sky. It's the most insane movie. Like it's great. Also, a love scene with V8 juice. Why? Who knows? And a video game brawler that never came out. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. Ninja 3 is like, yeah, I would say this is like in my top 5 canon movies, if not my top 1 or 2 canon movies. It's everything canon. Yeah, Lucinda Dickey, also in Breakin' and Breakin' 2. She was like the canon girl for these 3 movies. And Sho Kusaji hated that she's in this. A woman can't be a ninja. He had a big problem with it. And also that his role was reduced from the other movies. Also, like, it's not a sequel at all. It's, it's Ninja 3 The Domination's a great name for it, though. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, now here's one you're really gonna flip over.
Oh, wow. What is Naked Exorcism?
That's what I want to talk about, Sam Panico. Oh. You know what movie that is, and you are going to freak.
It's not Eerie Midnight Horror Show, is it?
No. It's better. It's better than Eerie Midnight Horror Show.
What is?
This is an actual theatrical screening of The Return of the Exorcist.
Yes. And it was either one of the two. Bring out Richard Conte.
Bouncing boobs on the other screen. That sounds like a Yoko Ono film.
Hello, people of Earth. I'm Not Feeling Myself Tonight is a British sex comedy.
It's a comedy.
Yeah, it's like kind of one of the. Yeah, it's like a confessions of a. What do you call it? A window dresser in all those movies.
See it if you want to laugh.
In case you ever wonder what it's like to be married to me, people, I had a 10-minute conversation with my wife about how nudie cuties are not interesting and they're very boring. She just sat and smiled and looked at me like an idiot. And she said, "Are you done talking about this?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." I said, "Do you don't want to hear about Nude on the Moon for another 5 minutes?" And she said, "No, I don't." I said, "Okay. Thanks for letting me talk this out. So this sounds interesting to you. That's what it's like to be married to me." Randomly.
Remember when we did that private watch party for Return of the Exorcist?
Oh yeah.
You messaged me. You're like, I'm watching this movie right now, and I said I'll start watching it with you. Oh God, those pandemic days.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it was just us, and we just texted each other throughout it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good people.
Yeah. That's like the time when I just send you a video of something from the beginning of it. You're like, I'll just put it on. Just hold on a second. And yeah.
The last of my whiskey maraschino cherries.
Oh, man, I'm just drinking Pepsi now, but I did take an edible, so get ready for that to kick in.
I don't know why you take edibles so late at night.
Because my back and neck hurt so bad from wrestling.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Medicinal purposes.
Yeah. Mike is never going to get 86 from Driving Asylum. Mike's one of my favorite guest hosts. Also, Mike's another person that I bug all the time with text.
I was standing right there when Mike Justice was 86th forever out of the Mecca and out of the ships. If he goes back in those places, he goes on criminal trespass.
Man, Dave's had 5 gummies. I just had one of these Canadian things, and I've learned my lesson.
Sorry, I'm swallowing while I'm talking.
I had those potato chips the one time, and I thought I was gonna die. Like, I woke back at 5 in the morning, and I told her I loved her. And I said, I'm probably gonna die from these edibles, and I just want you to know.
I never want to get blamed again for any of your edible episodes.
No, I know. And she was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, I'm just gonna go back to bed. And you're like, no, you're not. You're gonna behave. And I was like, okay. Why would you eat that much? And I was like, she's like, I said, well, I ate like the whole bag, and I was supposed to have 2 or 3. So I probably had too much, and then they weren't working. So I said, what if I drink some of this other stuff? I have to wash it down. And then I had some beer. And she was like, all of these things are wrong. What happens when I go to sleep? And I'm like, let me sleep, and kids are going to play. Like, I'm just, I can't be stopped. And she's like, just go to bed. I said, I want to go to the hospital, but I can't because I have so many drugs in my system.
I love both of those movies, Vince Cornelius, for the very reason that you're talking about, the atmosphere, especially Old Dark House. Yeah. I really dig that one. Like, as a kid, I thought that was really boring, but I started watching it again around Halloween a couple of years ago, and it's great. I love it.
I'm going to put up that list, the public letterbox list. I'll send links, and people can start throwing stuff in, because generally, here's the magical way that these movies are figured out behind the curtain. Is Bill texts me like during the week. He's like, what should we show? And I'm like, and then we talk, and then like, well, the guest will pick one. But yeah, sometimes there's been a couple weeks where we've been ahead, but not always. Lee, I'll tell you a cool fact about Dementia 13, or I'll ask you guys and see who has the answer. What song has a snippet of dialogue uses the lyrics from Dementia 13? Do you know, Bill?
You mean a sample from the film?
No, it has, the lyrics are taken from the dialogue of the movie.
Oh, I'm not sure.
It's American Girl by Tom Petty. He said she was an American girl raised on promises, and that's what they say when they first talk about, like, what do you think of his new wife? And she said, well, she's an American girl. They're raised on promises. I didn't know that. Yeah. Which is pretty wild when you think about it. It's like, wow, Tom Petty was watching that, Not as cool as Maniac being about the movie Maniac before it was redone.
Maniac cool. At your door.
Yeah. I talked to Sean Collier about that, because this week on his podcast, #1 movie is Flashdance is the movie that they talked about. And I'm sure you talked about that. He goes, yeah, I totally did. So
I'm not sure that's a true story.
It is a true. Supposedly he wrote the original lyrics and he changed them.
Right, but I mean, where did you hear that? Like, do we know that that's true? Because I had heard that
probably
that was
IMDb carny bullshit, right?
Yeah,
it's a good story. I want it to be true.
I'm hoping it's true.
In the same way, hey Gene, hey, in the same way that I want Rod Stewart to be true, I want this to be true.
I think we have an official hint about one of the films for the upcoming April Drive-In Monster Run. This is exciting.
Yeah. Any other good urban legends, Bill, that you like tell as if they're true? I have one that I tell people all the time.
Well, I don't tell urban legends, but one of my favorite ones was told to me by somebody that I used to work with. Uh-huh. And, have you ever heard the one about the plant that breaks open and spiders run out?
Yeah.
She told me that story as true, but she had embellished it to make it a Christmas tree. And she said that somebody had won a display Christmas tree from Kaufman's or something, and when they got it home, it fell apart. It was full of spiders, which was one of the more bizarre things that I had ever heard anybody twist an urban legend into. But Go ahead and tell me the one that you would tell.
I told a lot of people that I would do anything about Love's About Pegging. In the movies. And
I don't really know much about that.
so, well, I just made it up, and I told my friend Liz it, and she's bartended like all over the U.S. She's now a bartender at Kid Rock's bar in Memphis, and she's like, I told Kid Rock that story and asked him to ask Meatloaf if it was true, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm really embarrassed now, and I was like, no, you're not. Like, why would you ask anybody? She's like, I've told thousands of people that story. I'm like, but isn't that really what it's about? So.
I really dig Maniac. I think that's definitely a scuzzy movie, like Frankenstein '80.
Yeah, I really dig it. Also, I like the company that put out the comic book. The Maniac comic got bought by Vinegar Syndrome, so I'm sure they're going to re-release it. But they did an issue where it was New York Ripper against Maniac, which is pretty cool.
You know what I just bought, and I can't wait to get it in the mail. Lunch Meat VHS had a limited release of Vampire Playgirls.
Oh, wow.
Or is that the one? The one with John Carradine.
Yeah.
Vampire Hookers.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. And they had and it was in partnership with Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh, wow.
So they had this like limited edition VHS. I know I always bite on Lunch Meat's limited VHS. I bought their House of the Devil.
Yeah.
They make like a limited number of them. They're usually only a couple hundred, if that. Like, this one was 150.
I think
and
that's
a couple
cool.
of them are a different color shell. Like the House of the Devil, there were 5 of them or something that had a red shell. And I must have been one of the first people that bought it because I got a red shell, which was really exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. I just rewatched House of the Devil this week again. And I was like, man, I love this movie.
Yeah, I really dig it. It's so much better than it. Yes, it's better than X and Pearl. I really love it.
I like X and Pearl, but it's better, yeah. Becca rewatched Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 tonight. That's what we were watching earlier this evening, in case you're wondering. What else is this house? Yeah.
What's the assessment of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2?
I keep coming around to liking it more every time I watch it.
Oh, good. I want you to like it. I like it too.
Yeah, and I kind of like that it kind of takes everything from Halloween and says, no, that's not how it would work. Like Loomis is kind of the villain.
Right.
It's not seen outside of its own world, and you don't put into the thought of what do you call it? Is it good or better? Just seeing it as its own as a movie, which is hard sometimes. I kind of like it. Also, all these movies have improved magically over the last 3 or 4 years somehow. So I kind of like.
Of his 2 Halloween films, that is the one that is truly exists outside of any other timeline or anything. It's just a bizarre thing that he came up with to follow up his original.
The things I like about it more than the last one, I'm not a fan of in the last one, the first one, where we learned so much about Michael Myers and then suddenly it becomes like, oh shit, I got to do a remake, and here's a shot for shot remake. What I really like about 2 now this time that hit me is we've never seen Laurie in these movies react to how she would honestly react to finding out that everybody's lied to her whole life, that she has a brother. You know what I mean? That she's part of this murderous lineage, this person that tried to kill her. And like her breakdown as that happens, I thought was really cool.
David Assassino, I'm going to follow you into the men's room as well. Just so you know.
So yeah, that's my assessment as I watch it again. I still don't. It kind of goes up like maybe a half star or a star every time I watch it. So at some point, I'm gonna love it. But yeah, agreed.
You've lived through it so many times, Mike Justice. One of the things I loved about, if there was anything to love about Rob Zombie's original Halloween, was that Annie survives.
Yeah, I like that.
She doesn't die in it, but she does die in Halloween too. They basically do the whole scene over again, and this time she dies.
the party scene's really contrived into, and I don't know, but it's like on the
Yeah.
other hand, it's like I know what he's kind of doing. He's making it's the same thing I said before, like why I like a director because they make a movie that's their own idiosyncratic, their ticks, and Rob Zombie definitely has it. People are gonna swear more than they ever had in their entire lives. There's gonna be flashing moments of ultra violence. There's gonna be suddenly a slow down in an old song or an old movie is gonna be playing. Like it's very much his world. But I mean, I guess that's successful if you keep living that and doing it. So he's doing it, and
Yeah,
who
I
knows?
mean, whatever.
Yeah,
He's doing something right.
yeah.
So, next weekend we have
The plants are watching, aka the Carillion Witness, and Venus and Furs, which I'll have a lot to say about. And you'll probably be singing the song the whole time after you see it. Like the Venus and Furs theme song is very. I watched the. They have like trailers for movies on Tubi, so they say, but really it's just like like the first 2 minutes of the movie, and the scene in the beginning where the hero like finds his trumpet buried on the beach, and I was like, man, this movie's so good. And Becca's like, it looks really stupid, and I was like, okay, this will be on when you're asleep, so you won't have to watch it. You can, and you won't like the current episode. I probably will be a little late next week because I'm wrestling. I have a tag team match.
Yeah, we're not expecting Sam for the first
Yeah.
segment next weekend, but AC Nicholas will be here
Yeah,
in the box opposite me, and
yeah.
Sam will be able to talk plenty about Venus and Furs, I'm sure, when he comes back in the second
Yeah.
segment.
And on my site this week, Just Franco Month continues. Oh man, a whole month of him, and I got stuff for March planned. Another week of sequels, a week of ninjas, and I think Nico Mestrakis will be the next week. Bill, that's what I want to tell you. I watched Nightmare at Noon, which I'd never seen. It's the same movie as Mutant. It has the same actors as Mutant, but it also is an RV movie. So add that to your list of RV horror movies.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I
it's
watch RV videos on YouTube all the time.
yeah,
And the most important part of the RV and like these van conversions too. I'm
yeah.
obsessed with van conversions. And there's this sort of like um, hallucinatory idea on YouTube that you can live in this tiny little space and this can be
Like
your
the movie
home.
Superman is a
Like you
whole
can,
movie. It's just them
yeah,
going to van shows. It's great.
yeah. You can sell your home and scale down and live in this tiny little van. And what's really interesting is watching the videos created by the people who have actually done this and hated it. And they're like, what was I thinking? But I do love all these van conversions. I get obsessed with those and tiny houses, tree houses. What's really depressing though is they show all these cool houses and it's an Airbnb.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck? Like I don't, it kind of detracts from it. Like that people can rent this and go live there. I want this to be somebody's home, their magical little home in the woods that they're actually living in instead of like a hotel room.
I would recommend if you
Boring.
like RV videos. I don't know if you've seen Winnebago Man. I would definitely recommend that.
Wait, what?
Winnebago Man.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's the guys that did Found Footage Festival. It's their movie. There's this guy Jack Rebney that made a really infamous video where he was a RV salesman and he made a video selling an RV. He screwed up so many times reading it and abused his crew so bad the crew just kept the camera running as he freaks out and like has blooper after blooper. And it's amazing. Oh, accoutrements, which I said earlier, is 100% from it. I say so much shit from this, and he also says I'm not going to take any more bullshit, especially from myself. I say that a lot too. It's one of the funniest videos if you like profanity and one man having a meltdown. They used to show it in their show all the time, and then Joe and Nick went and found him, and they were freaked out to meet him because he seems like the angriest human being ever. He had no idea that he was internet famous and that people were laughing at him, and that The Simpsons used it on an episode. It's been in some video games and stuff. And then they find him and they show him the video, and he actually is really sweet. Like he kind of like really comes around to the idea that like, well, I was really having a bad day that day, and I guess if it made people happy, maybe I've done something, and it's really interesting. It's a really cool movie. So I definitely recommend it. But just watch the Winnebago Man video. Anytime I'm sad, I watch it. I'm just thinking. There's one scene where he asks for a towel, and someone, of course, throws it right at his face, and he just like stares at the camera. It's just like he's broken, and it's I don't know why I find it so funny. It's like one of those things that like Becca and I say stuff from it all the time with each other. It's good. So, and you know what? I agree with Mike. I love Michael Madsen's trailer in Kill Bill. I think that's a good
That's one of the best parts of that movie is when they have the fight in his trailer. And she throws that can of spit into Daryl Hannah's face, and she goes, "Ooh, gross." I love that movie.
I do too. I just watched The Bride Wore Black, the Truffaut movie. Don't judge me for being arty. But it's about
no judgment here.
Yeah, it's a bride whose husband's killed on the day of their wedding, and she gets a notebook of the 6 people she wants to kill that caused it, and hunts them down one by one. And Tarantino's like, never saw that movie.
Of course, he never saw that.
I would think that he saw She Killed an Ecstasy, which ripped off that idea, and Franco made it. And you know, Steve, the ultimate trailer life is the trailer in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, living behind a drive-in in a trailer and just drinking beer. I mean, come on, that's the life. My dream.
There were people who actually lived inside of a drive-in screen.
My dream of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is that Tarantino makes a giallo of Brad Pitt's character, of what happened on the boat with the spear gun, all the stuff that's in the book, and it's like his weird marriage and drugs and stuff like that. And then, man, I really want that. So, if you guys, I don't know if anyone is listed to the Video Archives podcast that Tarantino's doing, I told Bill this week, let's do it. There's a American Giallo episode all about Alice, Sweet Alice, and Tarantino had not seen it for years. His co-host had not ever seen it. And man, it's really cool hearing them talk about what's works really well in the movie, like what's in, from people that have made movies and what's solid about it. And it's like, man, it made me realize I was so happy they reshared out the tweet, but I always tell people that Alice, Sweet Alice means so much more to me now, because when you showed it at that triple feature, at the end, people were not ready for the end of that movie. Because it is like, they were talking about how dark the end of the movie is on the show. And like, it's like soul destroying. And I wrote to them, I said, guys, like the end of it, people walked out of the theater like just destroyed. Like nobody talked because people were at this high from pieces. Yeah. And then like when that
the weird thing about that is that the theater wasn't empty. There were a lot of people still there.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they weren't engaged with the film. They had just been so disturbed by it that they just couldn't speak.
And it's not that they didn't like it. It's just like at the end of it, they're like, I think it's, and there were some younger people too, maybe, I don't know, but it's like, you're not used to like the person that has been the kindest to everybody in the movie dealing with the wildness of everything that's happening. It's a really mean-spirited movie throughout. I mean, Brooke Shields is not only killed, but set on fire in the church.
Yeah.
And then people smell her body being burned. The scene with the, spoiler warning for a 50-year-old movie, the scene with the husband getting killed is horrifying. Like,
that's brutal.
Yeah. There's so much in it. It's like, I love it. Like it's like a near perfect movie my cousin Alfred Soul made. He's really not my cousin, but it's a really good movie. And if you haven't seen it, God, I mean, you should. I'm sure everybody here's seen it. But it's really cool hearing them talk about it and also Dress to Kill. So yeah, it's wild to hear them talk about movies I super care about. And John Landis is on this week's show, which is like, man, not John Landis, a horrible person, not John Landis. What's his name from Trailers from Hell? Joe Dante. So yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
come back and hang out with us next weekend with AC Nicholas, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Same time, same place. Groovy Doom Facebook page and YouTube channel. If you're following us on YouTube, remember to give us a follow, a subscribe,
a like,
a love, a share, and we appreciate you you coming and hanging out with us and watching fantastic films with us on Saturday nights. We'll see you again next week.
See you guys. Thank you.
Congratulations to Steve Wilson for winning that.
Send me a message.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.